Hello there, crafty friends. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see in front of me, I have 3 cards. Gorgeous cards. I love what I've created. And we are using the Pretty Poinsettia bundle today. So this is the dies and the stamp set. So we'll use the stamp set on the inside of the card. We are going to use the Swirls of Magic embossing folder. This is a 2D embossing folder. And this, surprisingly, it was a Halloween product. But I could see with the stars and the swirls that, really goes with Christmas as well. So I think this is a very useful embossing folder because you can use it in multiple themes. Then I'm using a retired product. It's a hybrid embossing folder. So it's called Christmas Words Collage, and you have the cutting. You can just emboss it, but if you pop this inside, then you can emboss and cut at the same time. So that's what they're going to look like. They come out really nicely on the gold foil, I've noticed. So let's get started. We'll do this card first. And what I wanted to show you was the impressions dies that are in this set. Now, they have holes in them so that we can press the cardstock through those holes to create an embossed feature. So the first thing we're going to do is spritz our cardstock. Now, this is not completely necessary, but it gives a deeper impression if you give a light spritz of water to soften the cardstock, and then it gets a little bit more pressed through. I'll just do the top part because I'm going to cut these 3 times. Start with, I'll just pan this out a little bit so you can see. Normal die cutting first of all. So whatever plate or sandwich you're using on your machine for die cutting, that's what you're going to use first. Now you can leave it like that, and then you're just going to get a normal die cut image with a few veins in it. So what I'm going to do, we remove the clear plates. So what I'm going to do is this adapter plate, I'm going to put that on top, and then I'm going to just flip it over, because what we want is the dies turned up like that. Then we have this soft rubbery impressions mat. So I'm going to lie that gently on. Then we've got our embossing, grey embossing. And this is what we've come up with. Now that has actually moved slightly in the die, so I'm it's not too bad. I'll see. I'll think about whether to keep it. Let's see this one. And this one hasn't shifted at all. And you can see there the deep impressions that you're going to you get. Okay. So I'm going to continue to cut the rest of them because I need 3 sets for this card. Before I do that, I am going to die cut our sentiment from the front. Now this one says peace, so that is here. So I'm just going to cut a piece. Because we're going to do, I need that for die cutting the flower centres. There, it's just slotted into place there. And I'm just going to pop that over the top. So the metal die is going to go on the side that the Stampin' Up logo is on. We're going to use our #1 base plate and our grey embossing plate. So it will emboss and cut this at the same time. So even if you don't have this particular hybrid embossing folder, I'm sure you've got something in your stash that you could use. And there we have our die cut piece there. So let's have another look at using these impressions dies. So spritz, cutting plates, lay them down, cut as normal, remove the clear plates, turn the dies over so they're staying inside this time, leave it on the plate 1, the adapter plate 2, add your black spongy mat over the top, your grey embossing #4, and run that through. And there we have our beautiful, deeply embossed poinsettia. So I've got a card base here, white, 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. I'm going to have instructions for all my cards today that you can purchase for $15 Australian, or with every $125 purchase on my website, you'll get these for free. So I've used the Swirls of Magic embossing folder on the Cherry Cobbler cardstock. Just use whatever adhesive you like. I think my glue's running out of that one. Then with this piece, now this cardstock DSP, Designer Series paper, sorry, is coming out in September. So this is a sneak peek of Yuletide carols. And on the back it's got notes, but in a different colourway there. So what we're going to do with this is we're just going to do a small border like that. Down both sides. Now I know I've got a little bit of overhang there, but that's fine because I can trim that off. I'd rather have that little bit extra and trim it off than not have enough. Make sure you have it going the right way. The words, that's what you want to look at. And I'm going to place it down about half an inch from the folded side. Now we can put together our poinsettias. And before I did put them together, I did give them a little crease along their center line going up the, and I did that to all of them. If you would like a little bit more variation in the colour, you could also add some ink, some cherry cobbler ink, but I was happy with the amount. You can sort of see the variation in the colour because of the embossed nature of it. So now we can put these together. And the way I place, I just got a bit too much glue there. You can just sort of move them around if you like. Till you like the orientation of them. That looks good. I think it wasn't running out, it just that it had a bit of a clog. There we go. All right, actually I'll turn this one. There, that's right. We're going to do the same with, got a large and a small one, so some tweezers. This is probably one of my favourite sets of poinsettias that I've seen in a long time. And I think it's the impressions that you can make from it. And just offset those. Let those set. I'm going to pop some foam under my sentiment. So these are the small dimensionals. Okay. Now, this is quite a big leaf, but where's my scissors? If you trim down the center of them, you can get them lengthened like this. Instead of cutting two, just cut them in half like that. Then lay them out. I sort of want a bit of a semicircle type of thing. Might have this going this way. At this one I'm going to have a bit of foam on that. And I might use a bigger one for there. And then that can go like that. And then we'll have our sentiment right way up, of course, across here. Okay. So I'll get this one down first where I want it. Then these can slide under. So I think I'll add my leaves. I'm going to leave the edges free of glue. So if we get it situated where we want it, might cut that little bit off there. And then we can slide that in like that. So I'll just use glue for these ones. And if you position it just right, then you cover the little cut mark that when you've sliced these leaf sprig in half. And just layer them like that. I don't know if I mentioned that that was Peaceful Pine, that cardstock there. Yeah. I don't want to cover up the words. There. We have our first card completed. So this is a split front card that we're going to create, and first of all we will make a template. So we need ruler, pencil, turn it this way, we're going to measure down 1/2 inch on the left side of your white cardstock, and then 1/4 inch here. Then we're going to measure on the opposite side. We're going to measure down 3 inches. Then we will turn, and the bottom will measure across 3 inches. So then we'll take our ruler and join some of these tick marks. So the bottom mark, so you've made 2 here, so the bottom one will line up with this one down here. The top tick mark will match this one on this side. And then we will go ahead and cut those. You probably don't need to draw a line, but sometimes it's easier to have a line to follow. So we'll just put these, line them up in our track marks there. Cut that one. Do the same for this. And then that can be used to cut the centres of the poinsettia out, because we'll be using white. Now with this, so we could, if you see any pencil marks, then you could rub them out. So then what we're going to do with these 2 pieces is run them through that Swirls of Magic embossing folder. So I'll go and do that now. I'll just show you how I'm going to line them up. So I'm just going to line it up like it would be on the card front. So there's our pieces there, and it just adds some nice interest to the plain white cardstock. I've made this before and I've just used a very subtle pattern paper. We're using real red this time for the card base. So first thing we're going to do is pop our, okay. I like using that because I do have painful hands today. It's raining today, so that's probably why. Now what I'm going to do for this one, I think I will use some score tape along the edge. To put our foil on. So we're going to do something similar to, I've cut more than I need because then we can trim off the edges. There we go. So I was a bit worried about glue seeping out from underneath. And we'll do the same to that. Make sure I'm doing the right edge. I do suggest a sort of a more firm type of adhesive when you've got embossed pieces like that. Okay. Okay. So this is going to go down here and this will go along there. But to give it a bit more dimension, what I'm going to do is add some foam, some dimensionals to the back. So what I'll do is I'll use these outside pieces. And that should be enough there. Pop this one on first. Okay. I'm just going to get right over the top. So that lines up. And it's very effective with having that pattern paper show through at the back, and then if you add some dimension, there we go. And then we're going to do the same thing, trim our leaf sprig and pop those there so they meet in the center. I'll put some foam on the back of our little sentiment. And I used the white centers because I thought we had plenty of gold in our leaves, and then I thought it brought in the white from our embossed piece. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I was going to turn up the leaves. Oh, we can still do that. Have it the right way. I'll let it dry first before I turn them up. So put our leaves on. Again, just some glue at the ends here. I find glue's good because of the embossing there. Okay, just hold it down there. I'll pop this on. Okay, so yeah, I'm still going to go around and give them a little bit of life, so to speak. I mean, yes, they probably get a little bit crushed in the mail, but I think there's still going to be enough there. Okay. There we go. See, I think that really looks nice. And I'll put some dimensionals on. Might put a few more. Don't want it falling off. And if I lay that there, that covers that, that goes down in there. Beautiful. That's our second card. Now this card is called, get rid of some of this mess, a fractured card. And I always think it looks more difficult than it is. So with your gold foil, I just cut to save on your papers, especially the specialty papers. So this, the gold, I haven't used the impressions on it. I haven't run it through with the impressions mat because you're getting, see, there's plenty of detail just with cutting it out with the die. Okay. I've used Cherry Cobbler as the card base. Now, we'll work, that goes on the inside. I realised I didn't do the inside stamping of the other one. We'll get to that. Okay, so this set, and I didn't explain the other one either, they're both from, it's called a Stitched Season Designer Series paper, and that's currently available. Okay, so this is going to go down directly. So I'm just going to center it. Just eyeball. Then I've just cut some 1/4 inch strips. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to lay them down like that. That's better. And we're going to go around each side. Yeah, I think it's getting a bit clogged up. You need to put it in its little holder so that it doesn't get dried up. But it does really nice. It's My Sweet Petunia, and I got it from Craft Online in Australia. Now, to save that, I did cut 4, but I probably don't need it. So I'll trim that off because I could use this one along here. Okay. Might trim off these. So this is obviously the reverse side. So this DSP had a lot of quilting type of patterns. Okay, so Now I've already gone ahead and embossed the pine cardstock with the Swirls of Magic embossing folder. So what we're going to do is pop that in there like that. So add some glue, pop your piece in there, and then we can, I'm just going to use my scissors to trim off, but you could use your trimmer. Okay, and then we're going to do the opposite side. Okay, and that's how you get that look. Okay, and then we lay it on again. I'm going to cut this off, that piece down there, that piece up here. Need my poinsettia pieces. So there was 4 layers to this one. So using every piece, every die. Oh, done the same thing again. Yep. I really like to do this. Really think it adds more to my project. But that's just a personal preference. Okay. While that's drying, I'll put a bit of foam, bit of these little mini dimensionals on. Let's see where that's going to go. What I do want to do is make sure that that gets a bit covered up with the poinsettia. So put it up a bit. Poinsettia is going into the center. Yeah, that's better. Like that. That's going to go. Yep. So then I'll pop this under. Pop some foam under this one. So I'd like to hear, is everyone else making a start on their Christmas cards, getting an early start? Maybe you've done some Christmas in July events. I had an in-person Christmas card event on the 31st of July. So it does feel good to get a few of our cards done a bit earlier. And there we have it. Now I haven't added any bling or anything because there's plenty of gold and bling going on. So this is going on the inside. So let's do some stamping. I've got some real red. And from the stamp set we've got this most wonderful time of the year. We can pop that in the centre. And then I've just got some foam, a foam mat of mine. And I think I'll do second generation. And just pop that in the corner there, like that. And that dresses up the centre of the card. Okay. Let's have a look at the other one I've made that I haven't done anything. I might do the same, but I'll use the real red, which is what I've used in that card base. And stamp off a bit. I might do a few different ones. We'll do it a bit different. Don't want everything to be the same. There we go. That's pretty. Let's do that in green. Let's get the peaceful pine. Chamois, get that red off. Okay. That's nice. Okay. And back to our first card, and stamp that in the centre too. The cherry cobbler. Okay, let's move all this out of the way and have a look at our creations. So, peace, joy, Noel. I hope you've enjoyed this cards today and getting crafty with me. If you're new to my channel, maybe you'd like to think about subscribing. I'm still growing my channel and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, so I hope you're enjoying it as well. Until next time, hope you can get some crafting done. Bye for now. See you in my next video.